Hi guys, That Song Review Guy here, and here we are, my fourth and final list, my top 10 best hit songs of 2015. You know, for all my derision and negativity of last year, believe it or not, there were a lot of really good songs that made the charts. A few people seem to have this idea of me that I just hate everything and that I don't know what real good music sounds like. Well, hopefully this list right here will shut them up. But then again, I think there are a few people out there who, no matter what you say, you're never gonna please them. You know who you are. Like the last list, all of the songs you see here all ended up on the official charts company's year-end top 100 list, and to be honest, there were a lot of songs to choose from. First, the honourable mentions, songs that I liked but just didn't quite make the cut. Irrespective of whether you like this group's debut album or not, one thing that's undeniable is that Years and Years delivered some very catchy, enjoyable and infectious synth pop last year. With a combination of drums, a mix of bright and deep keyboard synths, background harmonies, and along with lead singer Ollie Alexander's unabrasive vocal delivery, it's not the sort of dance pop track that smashes you over the head with forceful and over-the-top percussion that drowns out everything else around it. Instead, it's a well-restrained, well-controlled piece of production that highlights one of the reasons why I find this group to be one of pop's more welcoming newcomers. 2015, the year of Justin Bieber. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would ever utter that sentence. To think that all those years ago we were all clambering around all nattering about how in 2 years' time JB was going to be an irrelevance. And here he is, a number one album, 3 top 3 singles from the album, the first artist in UK history to ever occupy the number 3, 2 and 1 spots on the UK singles charts. It's fucking astounding. And here we have on my honourable mentions list, a fucking Justin Bieber song. What desperate times we're living in, people. What desperate times indeed. But nevertheless, I can't deny that the basic guitar instrumentation, the brief trumpet solo, and Bieber's lower register on this track works in spades. The lyrics are kind of scruffy, admittedly, but I'd be lying if I said that this didn't work for me. Don't worry, this isn't going to be the most controversial pick on either side of the list. Wait till you see what made the top 10. But in the year of overloaded, overproduced, noisy, unstructured EDM, whichever way you want to slice it, this was a well-needed relief from the charts and it couldn't have come sooner. A spaced and chilled out Caribbean-style dance track along with a nice piano piece, bongos and sweet charming trumpet section and an understated simple drum beat. Plus, Omi has such an earnestness about his lyrics that I can't help but feel won over by his sincerity. I buy it hook, line and sinker. I think the UK, hell, maybe even the US needed something like this song. I didn't expect this song to grow on me as much as it did. In retrospect, this is a way better introduction to Mo as an artist than the Iggy Azalea collaboration ever was. Her vocals are always fantastic and here is no exception. But the production is what actually makes this song even more attractive than I initially gave it credit for. Sure, the chipmunk style effects caused this song to lose a few points, but the restrained drum beat, finger snaps and hi-hats result in probably one of the best pieces of production work that Major Lazer has ever done. Even the musical interlude at the back end of this track is palatable. An oversight on my behalf, and you know what? That doesn't often happen. After the failure that was writing on the wall, it kinda got tough to call myself a Sam Smith fan. Throw on top of that Lay Me Down, which was boring as fuck, I started to see some of the criticisms that people have against this guy. And again, his collaboration with Disclosure was a redeemable factor for him, and this track here reaffirms why I like Smith's work. The sheer honesty and heartbreak that Smith delivers in his vocals, which just tears at the skin whenever I hear this track, along with the beautiful instrumentation which suits the control that Smith has in his vocals. This guy is far from over. He's just getting started. Yes, I've heard the endless arguments against this song about how it's not really a tribute to Paul Walker, how Charlie Puth sucks on this track. However, comparing this song to others that he's been involved with last year, this is by far the least insufferable. Hell, perhaps it's the best by default. And I've heard the arguments about Wiz Khalifa's lyrical choices, which, okay, I'll give you, they can be kind of questionable. But I don't think it's nearly as bad as others do. I'm starting to think that overplay is causing people to sound this track, which, come on, that's not a valid reason to hate this song, no matter what the excuse is. If you want to hear my review, link in the description box, go have fun. Much like Omi will be remembered, this is our city's one and only chart hit song, which is probably the only thing that they're going to be remembered for. But I'm going to be honest, I think it's a decent little track. The hammered piano chords, decent drum beats and Caribbean feel give this song a charm and appeal to it that I can't help but find it infectious. ridiculous. Roping in Adam Levine probably helped as well. Well, okay, it definitely helped since no one had given this song a passing glance without at least one recognisable name on the credits, but he does a good job here. He's stuck on doing the chorus, which is both memorable and well written, and restrains himself from resorting to his nut-crushing falsetto. Fuck it. Top marks, I say. And now that the honourable mentions are out of the way, on to the main event. As I've mentioned previously, 2015 was an odd year for artists who I usually dismiss, since they ended up releasing some decent tracks. Jason Derulo somehow restrained himself from his gratuitousness and released a pretty mediocre hit song, but it wasn't too terrible. Justin Bieber ended up releasing some pretty decent tracks, and even Taylor Swift had a pretty acceptable year as well. I don't hate Bad Blood as much as a vast chunk of people do, and to be honest, if Style had racked up more in sales and ended up on the year-end list, it would have easily had a spot in my top 10. Where is this all leading to? Well, to put it bluntly, there's a Beyonce song on my top 10 list. Although I will admit that this isn't Beyonce's best work she's ever done, nor is it very original, and hell, it's probably not even the best EDM track that's ever graced the singles charts. What gives this song the appeal is, believe it or not, Beyonce herself. Her vocal work over the last couple of years has done nothing but annoy anyone who has a sense of taste. Here though, she actually concentrates on singing and isn't obscured with shitty vocal effects smothered over the track, nor does Naughty Boy's production overshadow her performance. In fact, it complements her vocals terrifically. Opening with lingering piano chords over the background, synth strings and ascending bass line, before transitioning into the upbeat EDM along with brief hints of electric guitar just lurking in the background, it's a track filled with energy and gets the blood pumping. Seriously, try running when listening to this track, it's great. And extra kudos to Arrow Benjamin as well, adding to this song's appeal with a deep, smoky vocal delivery that's unlike anything I've heard in a while. I'd be really interested to hear what he sounds like when he really opens up the taps and goes full throttle. He has great control and delivers passion that's understated yet believable. Okay Beyonce, you win this round. 1 point to you. Going back to Bad Blood for a minute, I recognise that there'll be a fair few people completely baffled as to why I gave that song a pass. Sure, Kendrick Lamar is far from oppressive on this track compared to everything else that he did on To Pimp a Butterfly, and Taylor Swift feels more like the featured artist out of the two. But in the end, is it really that offensively bad that it deserves so much negativity? Whilst you contemplate that, here's 4 or 5 seconds. Now you may be wondering why I decided to go on a small rant about Bad Blood in relation to this track. Well, it's quite simple. Both songs received mass criticism, but I couldn't help but feel that detractors gave both songs a hard time. Unnecessarily in my opinion. But whilst I didn't fully embrace Bad Blood, 4 or 5 seconds on the other hand, I liked instantly. And I still do. Sure, it's got its problems. Rihanna's shrieking vocals in the opening are annoying, and Paul McCartney's involvement on this track could have been filled in by anybody. But overall, these complaints are minor when all things are considered. It's a well-constructed track with simple instrumentation and production that accentuates the good things that this song has going for it. Hearing Rihanna actually sing on this track is a welcome relief, and she doesn't do a bad job here. But Kanye's contribution is perhaps the most impressive. To say that his singing voice is less than impressive is stating the bleeding fucking obvious. But I'd argue that the lack of strength in his delivery actually works in his favour, adding perfectly to the very downplayed, simplistic and uncomplicated piece of music, and when those combined backing vocals join in with the chorus, I find myself having very little to complain about. So, yeah, it's a good song. Deal with it. I've been waiting for a long time for this girl to get another break on the charts, and even though it's because of a bank advertisement that this song gained traction, I'm not going to complain. Now, this song isn't a new release. Coming off of Birdie's second album back in 2013, peaking at number 16 when released as the lead single, it was re-released and, like I said, used as the backing music for an advertisement for Lloyd's Bank and peaked at number 8. The main difference between this and the original is the obvious change in instrumentation. Gone is the overbearing percussion and all that's left is a simple piano ballad. This time changes in the arrangement from hammering piano chords to a much prettier melody which enhances the beauty of the real main event of this song, Birdie's vocals. I've been in complete and abject love with this girl's voice from the very beginning, but I struggle to remember a time where I've enjoyed them as much as I have on this song. Here Birdie is enraptured in the moment that she's sharing with a significant other, whether it's the possibility that she's about to share an intimate moment with someone special, or it's a connection that she's built with another person. whether it be intimate or through admiration. Referencing trials and tribulations that they've gone through, it's a beautifully delivered piece that's packed with feeling and emotion, and Birdie remains to be one of the most underrated and underappreciated talents that this country has to offer. I can't wait for that third album, Birdie. Here's my fingers crossed. Do not disappoint. If you thought 4 or 5 seconds was a controversial pick, wait till you get a load of this one. Some of you out there may be aghast that out of all of the tracks done by The Weeknd, that it's this song that I've chosen to put on the list. So I'm going to be honest here. I didn't like The Hills all that much when I first heard it, and whilst it's kind of grown on me, the vocal delivery does still leave me kind of cold, and so I haven't fully embraced the track as a whole. And whilst Can't Feel My Face is a lot more catchy and fun to lose yourself in, it was a slow burner, something that cannot be said about Earned It, probably the only good thing to come out of the 50 Shades of Grey movie. I haven't seen it, but I'd be more than willing to bank on it. Driven by stabbing staccato orchestral strings that hang in the background, complement the vocals very well, and the falsetto sections are controlled tremendously and give the song an added dynamic which adds to the song's appeal. Along with a soft hint of piano in the background and the come down towards the end of the track where the strings intensify is executed terrifically. This simple love song is dripping with desire, lust and longing for the alluring woman that The Weeknd is willing to torture himself for in order to have in his life. When it's played with said intensity and desire, it comes off so convincing that I can't help but be hooked. For me, it works. Take that for what you want.